kind of like watching paint dry. Visually appealing, but still kind of paint drying. Hey guys, this is my review for Ghost in the Shell. I kept on calling it a Ghost in a Shell. Either way, this is the Hollywood Western remake, reboot, adaptation of the popular Japanese anime and manga. And I'll say this straight up, I haven't really seen either. I'm not that big of an anime guy, but I did appreciate the visual stills I've seen of Ghost in the Shell, and then when this movie was coming, the visuals instantly hooked me. Everything from the trailer, just the world, the atmosphere, kind of gave me a more Japanese version of Blade Runner, and Blade Runner had Japanese, an ideal future of what it would be with a Japanese global economy. So this film basically took it and added a way more CG and lights and effects to it, but it was still a visually appealing movie. Everything about this film in an aesthetic sense is incredible. The costume design, the look of the mech, cyborg-like people, the connections in terms of just this network system, and just how people interact and engage with each other. And there's so many parts about this from a futuristic standpoint that was just ooh. There's a lot of ooh moments. However, those ooh moments just start to disappear throughout the film as it slowly starts to get to its conclusion. Scarlett Johansson is actually pretty good as Major. At first she's kind of very platonic, very stationary, very celluloid, but that's because this film takes place a year after her creation, so she is still kind of getting to the ideal of human emotions because she's been used as a weapon most of this time, and we see her kind of break this mold, albeit awkwardly, but it works in terms of what she is. However, I will say that Scarlett is kind of playing the same character she's played a lot in the last few years, kind of this woman who kind of is trying to find out her past, but also is self-protective. It felt like Black Widow with amnesia, really, in some senses to me anyways. She's good though, and some of the supporting cast are really cool too. I like this whole team dynamic of Section 9. I like the doctor character who kind of feels like a surrogate mother to Scarlett Johansson. I even liked the villain, the initial antagonist of the film. He's a cool character. There's just two problems with this film. The first one is that it is dry. I don't really know how to describe it in any better way, but the film is very dry. It's almost dull at times. It's because the visual aesthetic can only appease you so much, and the story is predictable, and that leads into the dryness. The whole time I was sitting there like this just because I knew everything that was going to happen, despite the fact that it actually tries to do a little bit of a twist on itself. It's just dry, and the visuals they can't support the film anymore. Another issue is the action scenes, which are visually interesting. They are just boring. They don't have any kind of flair to them. There's a lot of gunfights in this scene where I was like, oh great, gunfights. Honestly, I didn't want more gunfights. I wanted more storytelling. And the storytelling, while dry at times, was way more engaging than any of the fight scenes. There's a big action set piece sort of at the end, and I couldn't give two shits. I was so bored during these fight scenes because, one, I knew how they would end, and two, they were just not that visually interesting, which is strange considering how visually engaging the rest of the movie is. There's some other flaws too, like there's some really bad actors in this film, mainly the guy who's in charge of the company, Hankel or whatever it is. He is awful. He is more robotic of an actor than the people who are actual robots in this movie. It's terrible. He's the weakest part of this film, and he damages the overall plot line. And if you want me to tell you, watch the second trailer they released. You watch that, you know the movie. It's that bad, and it's that simplistic. And Again, I wanted to like this movie. It was engaging to me so much on a visual level. It gave me such a big hype up for the idea of what Blade 2049 is going to be. Just because there's a lot of stuff that this film did that I would have thought unconventional of Hollywood films. Just the visual aspects, the costume design, what people did. It was different from what we've seen in a Hollywood film. And I give the director, Rupert Sanders, credit for doing a really good artistic vision. But as I said, artistry only gets you so far, and that's where the film kind of reaches its high point, is just how it looks. Everything after that is just kind of subpar. So in the end, I'm going to give Ghost in a Shell a 4 out of 7. Is it bad as people thought it was going to be, considering all the controversy the film was getting? No, it's not bad. This shouldn't be taken as a negative, because if anything, this makes me want to watch the anime now, and I'm not that big of an anime guy. So the fact that it's making me want to watch an anime is already an accomplishment in itself. And while I don't agree with him entirely about how good he thought the movie was, Chris Stuckman did note that this is possibly the best Hollywood adaptation of a Japanese anime that's been done yet. And I don't know, in terms of what I've been hearing from other people, it sounds like that's true. It wasn't a bad movie, it just was kind of dull. So anyway guys, that's my final thought on Ghost in the Shell. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll see you guys next time.